very easy, occurred in minutes, didn't require any large number of IT resources. So this is a very flexible solution. It brings a lot, I always like to say, it brings a lot of whiz-bang things to the IT department that allows you to do more flexible, agile things for the business. So high availability. What this is, it makes it simple. In the past, to make something high available, everything was physical. So if you had a SQL server, two SQL servers combined together, that was a very complex process of how to make that high availability. Everything had to be generally the same device driver, same CPU, same processor, as well as the expensive software that went on top of it, whether it be the Windows software or the actual vendor software. Another piece, too, is it was hard to add later. So if you bought a Dell PowerEdge server today, let's say 3000 or 3800, and you just loaded SQL on it today, if 2 years from now you wanted to then add high availability, the PowerEdge 3850 2 years from now is completely different than the current one you have today. Different device drivers, different NIC drivers, different, and maybe different operating system. The high availability solutions that are based on a one-to-one relationship of an OS to a physical piece of hardware are very expensive and hard to set up once it's hard to add later. That's where serverless, they can do it. It can happen in minutes. It can happen ad hoc too. So if you decide today, I just need a single server virtualization for SQL, well, in a year from now or 2 years from now, can I turn that feature on? The answer is yes. Click of a button, set up a new server. All those pieces are automated. You don't need a lot of the components you need to load into a Windows server to the heartbeats and the high availability software, the clustering software. That's all handled by the server, the hypervisor is probably the easier way to say it. Always on applications, same scenario. You have access to all your applications. So if SQL goes down, we can turn on another SQL server. If Exchange goes down, we can turn on another Exchange server, if you don't choose to keep them live all the time. So even if you don't have the full clustering support, you can still offer 100% because you can now provision the server, provide access to the data in minutes, not hours. Web servers, Active Directory, your file servers, all those pieces. Always on is available to all your applications because of the speed and the options that are provided with the hypervisor. And this is also the backbone for business continuity. Okay, so the business continuity, it gives you ER at the fraction of cost. You have to have physical devices in both locations. My primary site, I have 100 physical servers, and my secondary site, I also have to have 100 physical servers. And the bad part about the secondary site is they sit offline all the time. We only use them in our rare cases, the 1% cases. In most places, generally the 1% place. So we're going to be able to reduce that cost because when we reduce your physical footprint in your primary data center, we go from 100 servers to 5 servers, you now have the same reduction in your secondary site. Another good benefit is your primary site. I've now reduced 100 to 5 physical servers. I now have 95 extra servers that I can utilize, whether it be for server virtualization, I can ship them to the secondary site, the tertiary site, you can sell them on eBay, so you can reduce a lot of your investment and you have a lot more options for your secondary or backup site. Or if you don't have a backup site, if you go through server virtualization, now you have this extra hardware. Maybe that was the factor of why you didn't do it is you didn't want to have the double purchase of hardware. Now you have the hardware available to make that option. Fast recovery. So it's not only 100% access to applications, there's 100% access to data. If my Atlanta primary data center goes down, what happens? What's the process? How much of it is it automated? How much of it is it manual? Is it the same look and feel? Server virtualization provides all that. It automates the replication of data or assists the SAN to replicate that data. It provides the same look and feel. It will automatically switch servers over if it detects that there's an error. So there's management tools that are going to be on both sides. There will be a management tool on your primary site. There will be a management tool on the secondary site. They talk all the time, and as soon as something happens, and one of them turns something on or turns something off. So it's very automated. It's fast recovery. You go from business continuity that takes days, weeks, to minutes, hours. There are use cases out there that it's minutes, or I'm sorry, it's seconds. It's that fast. It's that powerful. Another key benefit is unlimited testing. So if you've done business continuity, you're familiar with it's the yearly, let's go test everything because we manually have to do it. And we may have to take services down that would impact our current day-to-day operations. You can virtualize your entire IT infrastructure. You can virtualize your primary and your secondary site, and you can test all these methods. You can test the failover. You can see what it looks like. You can test your documentation. You can see where the line is, how much is automated, how much is manual. So you can really refine those documents of if we have to explain to a secretary how to turn things on because our IT department isn't able to get in, there's a flood like Nashville. Those guys couldn't get out unless they had a boat. So if we need the secretary to go into the data center and do a few pieces, instead of the 40-page document, it is now the 5-page document because server virtualization has handled all those pieces for you. So it's a key piece. And data center automation. This is tied in with green computing as well as the green data center. So we have reduced physical servers, less power, less cooling, less rack space. I like to use the 5 physical hosts. We use that as an example. Well, if it's 4 a.m. in the morning and you're only using of that environment, 20% of that utilization, do we need all 5 of those servers turned on? Can we turn some of those servers off as well to, again, save some more costs, power cooling features? The automation of the server virtualization can do that. It will dynamically turn off host systems or physical hardware systems. It will reallocate the virtual machines. So if you have a scenario where you have 2 physical machines which are hosting 10 different operating systems on each one, so you have 20 different operating systems, I'm going to turn one off. I need to take those 10 operating systems and move them to the primary server, which will now have 20. Okay, that's great. Save some power. We can turn that off. Now what happens when people come in at 8 a.m.? It, again, automates that whole process. It will turn on the secondary server, power it up, get it on the network, recognize that it's available, and then move the operating system to the other server to spread out the performance and guarantee the uptime. A good analogy would be if you set up a meeting, a conference meeting where you invite 3 people and 9 people show up, but you only had 3 chairs, what would you do? Physical, get some chairs, bring them in here, everybody sits down, they leave. Now I have to go move those 9 chairs back. The server virtualization would automate that piece. It's dynamic. I can go from 3 to 9 in minutes, and I can go from 9 to 3 in minutes. And we'll just back up just to highlight these 3 points. Again, consolidation, reduce your physical footprint, which is going to reduce your costs significantly. High availability, the ability to provide 100% access to your application with the same look and feel, less user interaction. A user may not even notice there was a difference. Business continuity, protect against the major outages. How do I ensure access to my data in a serious event, catastrophe? And the automation of how do I utilize these features to reduce my cost, speed up IT, and makes it very flexible. One point you'll see here is I do mention desktops and servers. Our topic next week is desktop and application virtualization, and you'll see a lot of this ties in with it. A lot of the same ideas and methodologies around server virtualization also tie into desktop virtualization, also tie into application virtualization. This is, I consider server virtualization the backbone for desktop virtualization, or VDI pieces. So let's skip ahead. Okay, so the secret of your success. So that's great ideas. We like it. Those ideas are going to help me transform my business. Okay, so how do I make myself successful? How do I make myself look good? How do I go to my boss and say, look, I'm going to save the company, make us lots of money, reduce all these costs? So the first thing you want to take a look at, you need to look at the challenges facing your business. How can I adapt to what is currently going on with my company? So you want to reduce costs without increasing your revenue. There you go. And also without sacrificing service quality. So I need more resources from the IT department that you can't spend more money, and you still need to give me 100% access to the applications, fast, automatic, reliable. Business, again, business demanding more from the IT. We're expecting all these features, and not only are you not getting a larger budget for hardware or software, you're also not getting a larger budget for your IT staff. So they need to do more, faster,